So as people are coming in, I want to welcome everyone to our family meeting tonight. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope Monday wasn't too hard of a day to start the week for you. And I'm happy that you are all here. We are at 60. That's amazing. So thank you for being here, taking the time to chat with us. I'll go over the agenda. Alex will be talking about Strava. We will be doing a recap of challenge number 1. We'll introduce to you challenge number 2. I will be going over posture education, something very important that we need during exercise. And then David, Julian, and Jasmine will be going over some resistance band education and letting you know why, the importance of investing in these tools for you. We'll go over important dates, and then of course we will have our family time. If you just came in, if you could rename yourselves, please. LGM, Let's Get Moving, Active Lifestyle AL, or Performance P. And I'll give it away to Alex so he can tell us about Strava and our challenges.
All right, thank you, Arlene. Thank you all for being here. Good evening. So we got some Strava updates. We have 98 members. We're almost at 100, all right? So let's try to push it there. Just two more people. All right? And then look at our miles. We have 840 miles, so we're getting near 1,000. If we look at the map, it shows us the circle and it tells us our distance, right? So if we go north, it's a Gifford Pincott National Forest. If we go east, we have Guadalupe Mountains National Park in Texas. Then if we go west, we're swimming in the Pacific Ocean. In south, we got Agua Caliente de Cebeda in Mexico, all right? So we've already covered a good amount of area. And then if we look, we have, oh, I cannot see that. We got our Strava leaderboard, and we got Melinda, we got Beth, Gary, Cindy, Irma, Meredith, Abigail, we got Garland, Joshua. All right, round of applause to all those people. Right, I see Janwin right there. All right, Dulce, Eden, Omar. All right, so great job to everyone who made the Strava leaderboard. All right. And then we also had our challenge this Saturday. All right, Love on the Run. These are all the pictures that we received. All right, we put together. So shout out to everyone who did it. Round of applause to everyone who participated this Saturday. All right. Right. And then we got, let's see, we got Meredith who did it, Omar, Jake, Cassandra, Abigail, Irma, Mark, myself, Lizeth. See, I hope I'm not missing anyone. I think that's Dr. Loy. I can't tell who that is. But thank you to everyone who joined. And maybe your picture wasn't here, but you still did it. So still shout out to you. All right, but that brings us into our challenge number 2. All right, so we better start preparing for it because we have Lift and Shamrockin'. All right, this is obviously St. Patrick's themed. It's going to be a Couch to Strength Facebook Live with Coach Chris. All right, got Chris right there. It's going to be at 10 in the morning. All right, but do not worry if you're not able to make it. It's March 20th at 10 a.m. If you're not able to make it, it stays on our Facebook page. So you can always go back to it at another time and still do it and participate in this challenge. We would like for you to, maybe do a little post that you did it. So that way, maybe you can be featured in our next one that you participated for our challenge. All right. And we do have our Facebook Lives 3 times a week. So attend those so you can better prepare yourself for this challenge. All right, awesome. Well, I'll pass it back to Arlene, who will talk a little more about posture education.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, super excited for our Lift and Shamrock on challenge. It's a strengthening challenge. So we're super excited to, you know, move our bodies differently. So thank you. And I hope you're all excited for that challenge as well. So we will be getting into the importance of posture with exercise. If any of you have been to my Facebook Lives, you know that I'm always very adamant about making sure that we are all in good posture. We're very aware of our bodies and what we're doing with our bodies. So why is it important? Typically, well, first we want to talk about what we mean about posture. And that typically means that we're trying to keep our back in a neutral position, which is just the natural curvature of our body. We sometimes tend to we tend to hunch over sometimes if we're picking up something versus just trying to align our spine. Or sometimes if we're lifting something up over our shoulders, we tend to kind of overextend and create that arch with our spine, which can essentially be very harmful to us. So it's very important to be aware of our bodies and align our spine along with everything else. So it's not just about our spine being neutral and natural, but it's also important to have our shoulders rolled back, our chest out. We have our legs stacked underneath our hips, which are stacked on top of our knees, and our knees are stacked on top of our ankles. We also want to be mindful of having a slight bend in the knee because we never want to actually lock out our knees. And as you can see on some of these diagrams here, like for example, the running one, we tend to hunch over. So now we're putting that strain on our back. We're locking out our knees so we're not stepping correctly when we're running, and then we're going to cause injury. So this is why it's important to have that self-awareness and making sure we are having this posture or paying attention to our posture during our exercise. Key points: it lowers the risk of injury, just as I explained it with the running. Lifting up over your head on the diagram to the bottom left, you can see that the wrong way is really overextending that back and creating that arch in your back. Now you're adding more strain to your muscles. You can injure your back very easily. Hunching over and trying to pick up that weight is very dangerous. So that's why we want to concentrate on having that back and that spine aligned. Also, when we have this posture, when we have our shoulders rolled back and engaged, we have our slight bend in the knee, we are engaging different muscles. Even though we might be just doing a bicep curl, now we have our core engaged. Now we have our shoulders engaged. Now we have our lower extremities engaged. And now we're working those on top of concentrating on this bicep curl that we're doing. So you're activating all these other muscles and you're getting more out of the exercise. Also, when we tuck in that pelvic bone, when we say, you know, tuck in that belt buckle and bring that pelvic bone up towards like your ribs, you're activating that core all the way around. So now you're more stable. You have better balance and you're activating your core, and it's ready for that weight, or it's ready for that exercise. Also, during having this posture during exercise, you're creating better habits. Also, you're creating stronger muscles. So when you're just sitting recreationally, watching TV, working, when you're standing, you're creating better habits of having good posture, and now your muscles are stronger so that you can have better posture. Also, being able to stand up straight, activating those muscles, allowing that space in your rib cage and your diaphragm increases that oxygen flow, just like how we spoke about it last week, right? We spoke about breathing correctly during the exercises and how that enhances our exercises. So now we're here connecting the dots. Now it's one thing, we just learned something last week, now we're learning something this week, and we're connecting it together, and we're seeing how that works together. And I'm hoping that that's making sense. So with increase of oxygen flow, we bring more oxygen into our working muscles. Now we have right? We think we're just doing bicep curls. Oh, we're just working the biceps. But no, with the good posture, we're engaging all these muscles. All these muscles are working and they need fuel, they need oxygen, just like how we need water when we're exercising. So when we have this good posture, we are opening up that chest cavity so that we can bring in that oxygen and enhance the workout. When we're enhancing the workout, we can lift with more ease. We can go through range of motion better, and we can capitalize on our exercises, right? So if we talk about how we breathe during the exercise, we always want to inhale during the most extraneous part of the exercise. So for example, when we do a squat, we're going to inhale as we go down into the seated position, and we're going to exhale as we shoot up or come up from that seated position. That's going to help you bring in more force, help you lift more weight if you do want more weight or resistance. We always talk about too, not holding your breath, because that's going to cause dizziness or cramps. So when you put in that good breathing and that good posture together, you will be avoiding the dizziness, the cramps, the fatigue, the negative thoughts of not wanting to do this workout anymore. Because trust me, when I'm running and I get a cramp, best believe I'm like, no, thank you. This is what's gonna happen. I don't want it. And so if we put these together and we're very adamant about paying attention to our body, we're going to have fun while we're exercising. And lastly, of course, it keeps us in tune with our body. We know what our body is doing. We can see the progress that our body is going through when we're paying attention to these little things, even though we may feel like we're doing something else. So we're not just concentrating on that bicep curl or on that squat or the overhead press, but we're putting our body all in sync for one thing, common goal, and that is to progress into our exercises. So little things to keep in mind. We have how to breathe correctly during the exercise and how that ties in. If we keep that good posture, we're going to reduce the risk of injury. We're going to be in tune with our body. We're going to bring more oxygen into our working muscles and ultimately enhancing that exercise experience. All right, so keep that in mind next time we are working out, or you're walking, or you're doing something new. Pay attention to your body in that way. So now I will be giving it to David. He will be giving us some information about some resistance bands and how that can all tie it all together as well. So David.
Thank you, Arlene. Now, the underlying question is, should you invest in bands? And the obvious answer should be yes. By having resistance bands, it allows for further progression and just many other positive attributes that could contribute to the workouts that we are providing for you, along with improvement in posture, just as Arlene was mentioning. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, let's start off with what resistance bands are for those of you who may not be aware of them. They are long elastic lengths of rubber used for working out. For those of you who had the fortune of being at the parks before everything got turned into a virtual setting, they were the rubber tubes that had the handles that we're using when we're doing our resistance training. Along with resistance training, it can also be used for mobility work and stretching. And as Arlene referred to earlier, posture, you can use it to strengthen up your back and all your pulling muscles that could allow you to bring your shoulder blades back to improve posture. The great thing about resistance bands is that there's not one size. It's not a one size fits all type of deal. They have multiple lengths that are usually color coded, and each length also comes with varying thicknesses. So if one might be too strong for you, a little too much resistance, you could always back it down and get a length of band or a thickness that's a lot lower that could accommodate for whatever fitness level you may be at. Now, the three main types of bands that we're going to try to convince you all to invest in are loop bands, which is the long circular band that has no handles. The bands with the handles that were the ones that were mainly used at the parks. And then the smaller loop bands that are used most of the time, people put it between their knees or their ankles, mainly used for lower body, or sometimes I've seen people do upper body exercise where they put it around their wrists. Either way, if you choose to get all three bands or just one type, each has their own benefits and will greatly contribute to your fitness goals. Next slide. The current exercises that we're doing in our programs are all body weight, unless you find a way to add outside resistance to it, such as maybe having a backpack with some textbooks to add some weight, using water bottles as dumbbells, using bags filled with cans of food. Anything, but the great thing about resistance bands is they allow for this outside resistance to be implemented into our current exercises. It adds a little bit extra weight. Also, introducing bands will allow for the introduction of new exercises that are not currently in our program because they require either specialized equipment or just certain resistance that you can't get from just using your body weight. Also, they can easily track your progress. Like I said earlier, if you choose to buy a set of bands, they have multiple levels 1, 2, and 3. What you can do is you can track your progress a lot easier than if you were just using body weight. For example, 1 week you could only be able to do curls with the light resistance band, but the following week you may be able to move up to the medium level band. So this just allows you to gauge your progress and know what weeks you may have possibly gone down, what you have been doing to progress. It just helps for overall progression and keeping track of it. The reason why we're encouraging bands out of all the possible workout equipment in the world is because it is incredibly affordable for what you're going to be getting. You can get an entire set of bands for relatively inexpensive cost, and it's just going to improve your fitness level as a whole. When you're done using the bands, you can easily put them away. They take up no storage whatsoever. If you choose to get a set or any bands in general, they are going to come with a little drawstring bag that you could put on once you're done. You could place them in your closet, hang them on your doorknob. They take up no room. You could put them anywhere and then just take them out when you're going to use them again. And also for those of you who are going to be using or who work out by yourself, using bands could be a great way to introduce a workout partner, maybe get a family member involved, and you two could start your fitness journey together. As we can see by the diagram, one person can be holding the band while the other person could be executing the exercise. And the great thing about bands is it could be used for any exercise, whether it be a compound exercise such as a squat or an isolation exercise such as a bicep curl. Next slide, please. The two brands of bands that we will recommend most came from a combination of quality, reviews, and price. The first brand, which is the one I personally recommend because I use these, are Spri, S-P-R-I bands. You can see the price right there. The bands with the handles, it comes in a set of 4 resistance, so you could clip on an extra band or take it off. That one was rated at 3.6 stars, but to be fair, it didn't really have many reviews on the website. And it's going to be a total of around $30 plus tax and shipping and handling, as everything would be if you were to order it online. The loop bands come in 5 levels. They do not come in a set, so you will have to buy them individually. The least resistance, so smallest band, the smallest thickness, is going to be around $20, with the heaviest being, or the heaviest resistance being up to $40. But as you can see, it almost got a perfect score. It got 4.7 stars. These bands are the ones I personally use, and believe me, $40 is worth the price because the abuse that I put them through, they're not ripping, they're not budging. So you're going to get what you pay for, most definitely. And lastly, the hip bands, which are the smaller circular ones that go around your knees or ankles. That one does come in a set, comes in a pack of 3, each of varying resistances. And those are going to be $20. And you can see they got a perfect score. They got 5 stars out of all the reviews. The second brand is going to be Perform Better. They have the same type of bands. They have the bands with the handles, but this one offers a little more variety. It offers 7 levels of resistance, and the smallest resistance being almost $10, with the heaviest being 15. And you can see they got a 4.6 star rating, so it's definitely a lot higher than the Spri bands. The loop bands come in 11 levels, cheapest one being $10, all the way up to the heaviest one being 65. But I checked out the heaviest one. I would not recommend that one. That's going to be a bit too much. That one's going to be 4.5 stars, so excellent reviews. And then this one offers more levels for the hip bands with a set of 4, whereas Spri was only 3. This one is going to be, you get 1 more for even lower of a price, almost half, a little less than half of what you will be paying for Spri, and it got 4.6 stars. So what I'm going to do right now is in the chat, if you are interested in buying any of these bands or looking into a little more information for yourself, I am going to paste down the links. I'll do it a little after. For now, I'm going to show you what exactly is it that you can do and how to properly execute using these bands. So for my demonstration, I'm going to be showing what to be done with the loop band For those of you who are unaware, it is just a long circular band, has no handles, no connection. It's just one continuous circle. Now, for the example, I'm going to be doing a squat. So just like any other exercise, you're going to be stepping on the band to anchor it down. Whether it be a curl or a squat, you always want to have something anchoring you to the ground because you don't want to risk it coming upwards. And again, since the bands are elastic, depending on how much you stretch it out, that's going to be what determines the resistance. So if I were to do a squat holding the band down here, it's going to be a lot easier than if I were to be doing a squat holding the band up here. So that's one of the main compound exercises that you can use. But also, if you choose to only buy one band, it could be difficult knowing which resistance, because you might get one that's a little too thick, a little too hard to use for the smaller exercises. You might get one that's a little too thin to be using for the more heavier exercises, such as a deadlift or a squat. So if you choose to get a light band, such as this one is relatively thin, let's just say a pull apart, for example, you can use 2 strands to pull apart, but if that's too much resistance, what you can do is just grab one strand, and this what allows you to adjust the resistance within the band itself. And of course, you can play around with the hand placement as well. The closer you put your hands, the harder it is, more resistance. The farther you stretch out your hand, the less resistance it would be. That's just some suggestions to take into account if you choose to buy one of these bands. But if you're more interested in using the bands for more partner workouts, then we will recommend using the bands that have handles. And I'll pass it on to Julian to go into further detail.
Hi everyone, as David said, these are the handles recommended for partner workouts, but for individual workouts, I'm gonna demonstrate a row and a chest press. To use these, you should wrap around a sturdy object, whether it be the bed leg or a pole like this. And the farther you go, the harder it is to pull it and the more force you have to use. And the closer you are, the less force you have to use. Another workout that we could use is a chest press. Same concept, the farther you go, the harder it is to push. And the closer you go, the easier it is to push. And as David mentioned, this exercise can be done in partner if you are able to convince someone in your family. All they need to do is hold it by their chest and you do the row. Or you could even do the chest press. This is why this one is more comfortable if you're gonna use partner workouts, or if you really just wanna do it by yourself. This is also great for that type of workouts. But for now, I'm just gonna pass it on to Jasmine with other workouts.
Abductors. The intensity of the exercise, and I really recommend you guys buy these. They're one of my favorite bands. The only ones I don't have are the ones Julian recommended, so I will be buying those. That's for sure. But otherwise, great band for lower body exercise, and I highly recommend those. And
Jasmine,
now I'm gonna hand it over to Arlene.
Jasmine,
I think you lagged out for your demonstration.
go through a couple moves again, Jasmine. Or not.
I don't know if you can see me. Can you see me?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so hip abductors or hip extension. So these are good. I like these. You guys should get them. Maybe we can create a new program. Get stronger together.
Thank you, Jasmine. So that was a really great education. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, David and Julian and Jasmine, for showing us the benefits of having these resistance bands. And as you can see, they have a great price point and they can do a lot of different things, put a different routine for you, just in case, you know, you might get a little bored with certain things. So having this education is so amazing, and the resources, of course, will be given to all of you if you do decide to look into these. We will have the links, and thank you, David, for putting even just like the rates, the stars of what it had, and that's amazing because I know a lot of us look at reviews and whatnot, so we really appreciate it. One last thing before we get into our family time, I'm just going to review the important dates coming up. Tomorrow, February 24th, we have a Facebook Live with Asia at 1:30. So be there if you can. Of course, you can always go back and watch it on your time if you cannot do it at 1:30. So we're super excited for her to be on a Facebook Live. Please go and support her and get a workout with her. That same day, if you are available, we do have the nutrition education with Dr. Lisa Gore. She will be going over, balance, variety, moderation, and how to get motivated with our eating habits. And that is at 3 p.m. In order to get the link for that Zoom, you have to go to our website, 3winsfitness.com. You go up to the top, go down to the drop bar for calendar of events. You go to that day's date, which would be tomorrow, and there would be a link right there set up for you. All you have to do is click and you'll be in the Zoom. So I hope that you can make it at that time. If not, of course, it will be uploaded to our website and you can go back and watch the education that she gives us. Then we have February 26th, which is Friday. We have the Facebook Live with Garland at 9 o'clock a.m. So if you want to go out and have a good run or walk or jog, looks like it's going to be pretty nice weather. So get out there with Garland. He'll give you some motivational tips or ask about what movie you're watching just to keep you going, walking. I know sometimes it can be a little redundant just walking if we are not walkers or runners. So it's like great to have someone there doing it with you. And then, of course, make sure you mark your calendars for March 20th, challenge number 2. It will be a special Facebook Live on Saturday at 10 a.m. with Coach Chris. So I hope that you can all make it and put that on your calendars and make time and space for that. So without further ado, let's go into our family breakout rooms. If you have any questions about the education or anything else that we talked about, please let your program managers know and let your accountability partners know as well.
All right, I've got pretty much everyone set up. I'm missing one, well, two, just one. Julian Magdaleno, if you can shoot me a message or unmute and let me know which family you're in. The rest of us, I'm gonna go ahead and open up these rooms and we'll see you all soon.
You're right, Susan.
We came in a close second, I think. No, I'm just kidding. How was everybody's family time? Not long enough.
Excellent.
Not long enough, exactly.
Not long
Never
enough.
long
Yeah.
enough.
I
Never
felt like,
long enough.
Can we go back? I'm just kidding. Can this be another like 20 minutes? Does anybody have any questions or any last minute thoughts or just anything they want to comment on? Anything we can provide for you before we go? Remember, we do have the Facebook Live tomorrow at 1:30 with Asia. It's going to be great. She's fun to work out with and she has a lot of energy. So if you can watch that with her, that would be awesome. You know, we went over metrics a few weeks ago. We're always trying to reach our goals as 3 wins. So if you can make it, be there. Also staff, let's support our staff. If not, you can always go back and watch it too. You know, they're always going to be there for you whenever you'd like. And then Friday, we have our running, our Couch to Better Health with Garland at 9 o'clock. And then, of course, tomorrow as well is the nutrition education with Dr. Lisa Gore at 3 o'clock. The link is in the email that you should all be receiving. Also, you can go to our website, 3winsfitness.com. Under calendar of events, you go to the day, which is the 24th, and the link will be there. Just want to reiterate all of that for you.
When
Go ahead.
I have a question. Maybe when the coach contacts me or in the text or something or the chat, could you tell me how to get, I don't have a tracking for my steps. I don't have anything for that. I understand there's Strava.
Yes,
I just looked there, but I don't know how to do it, get it for free.
Oh yeah, definitely. Your accountability partner should be able to explain all of that for you. And also too, I know we were inquiring about having like a Zoom session where we can all kind of come together and really talk about how we can utilize Strava and all the other resources that we have. So if you are interested in that, so that we can guide you, especially if you don't have if you don't have a Facebook and you want to get a Facebook so that you can utilize our Facebook Live, we can guide you through that step by step. Just let your accountability coaches know and your program managers know so that we can like set up a day and everybody can watch it. Of course, it will be recorded. So if you are not able to come at that time, you can go back and watch it. But we can definitely do that for you. Any questions that you have, please do not hesitate to ask. That's why we're here. We're here to help you and to answer any of your questions. So text, email, call, whatever you're comfortable with. And do that for yourself and for us so that we can help you. Sounds good? Thumbs up? All right. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. If nobody else has any questions, you are free to go. And thank you so much for being here tonight. We always appreciate you. We're proud of every single one of you, and keep going. The journey's not over. We still got plenty of time, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
Night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.